The student behavior checklist is one example of a behavior intervention that you can use with your students where you're trying to change problematic behavior patterns. On the first page, you see the directions, and on the second page, you see the actual template. It's set up so that you can work with multiple students and you can list what skills they're working on. This is set up for a month so that once a week, we check in on the skills that we're working on and give students feedback on whether or not they're improving or making changes with behavior. If you need for this to be a more intensive intervention, you can change the week one, week two to day one, day two, and have one of these sheets for the week. But basically, whether you're doing this weekly or daily, the directions are to first have a short conference with a student about what behaviors are looking for during the lesson. It's a good idea if you've already had a little bit of in depth conversation about what behaviors they're working on and some strategies for changing those behavior patterns so that right before you have your lesson, you just do a short conference and remind them about the behavior changes you're looking for and then just simply teach an academic lesson. It could be an intervention. It could be a lesson where the student has these behavior issues, where they're a little more problematic, but just observe the students while you're teaching an academic lesson and check for the behaviors that you see for each student. So if you see that they have those behaviors that you're working toward, just check mark them. And then have a short conference with the students after the lesson. Let them know what behaviors they did well, what they still need to be working on, perhaps a quick discussion of the strategies that they're using. And then for each week, determine if students are meeting goals by using this behavior checklist and going to the documentation spreadsheet, which is linked right here. So the spreadsheet is the actual progress monitoring where you can note each week are students meeting the goals that they set and just simply typing yes or no. It's a good idea to have this top part completed so that it has information about the behavior skill and the goal setting sheet that you're working on. And then as you put yeses or nos on the sheet, you'll see that it will populate to graphs so that you can determine the effectiveness of the intervention if you need to make adjustments or if you need to intensify the intervention. So I hope that helps you get a picture of how you can use the student behavior checklist for behavior interventions with your students. Thanks.